Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, John, for being our speaker. And he will start talking about uh, the impact of 3D and AR on e-commerce. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. John.
Thank you so much, Dominic, for having me here. I'm happy to meet everybody on Zoom live today, and anybody who's tuning in later to watch. If you have any questions, feel free to just throw them in the comments, and I'll try to notice that the chat is there. And if I'm going too fast, tell me to slow down. I've been told that in the past, so don't feel bad. And anyway, yeah, just happy to be here to talk about AR. So just a little bit about me to start. I always like to know who I'm listening to. So I'm Jon Cheney. I am the CEO and founder of a company called Seek. Here at the office today, we're based out of Lehi, Utah, and which is about 20 minutes, 30 minutes south of Salt Lake City. And amazing tech hub here, and an incredible place to build a company. We started in 2016. January 1 of 2016 is when we were founded. And I started the company as a New Year's resolution. I just wanted to do something big, and it was totally different than what I do today. And that's a good story for another time. But bottom line is I ended up in the augmented reality space. I started serving brands and helping them with their marketing and engagement and customer experience. And now we're a customer experience company that deals with 3D and AR. And so that's great. And we'll talk about that more in a second. So just a couple personal things about me. We'll just kind of move around the screen here. I'm a pianist, compose. You can look me up on iTunes or Spotify or whatever you like to use to listen to music and see if you like it. I'm a pianist, and then I compose for orchestra as well. So I love doing that. I'm married, 4 kids. This picture's a couple years old. My kids are a little older now. This one's now 3. And so feel free to reach out and connect with me on LinkedIn. It looks like Dominique posted a couple links there as well. And then kayaking, love anything outdoors, mountain biking, hiking, kayaking. I especially love to be in a river in a nice kayak right there. And then again, I've spoken at 100 places on augmented reality all over the world over the last few years, and Seek has become really the leader in 3D and AR for e-commerce. And so with that, we'll kind of dive in a little bit more to Seek and talk a little bit about what we do, and then dive into some of the topic for today, which is just talking about what kind of impact 3D and AR can have on e-commerce, right? So where Seek sits in the ecosystem, there's a complex ecosystem out there, right? You have all kinds of brands. These are a few of Seek's customers, and they want to be able to use augmented reality in all these platforms that you can see right here. And this is not all inclusive. There are plenty more, but this is the sum. Now, one of the problems that for those of you that are on here that are listening in that know a little bit about 3D and AR, you know that each of these platforms actually use different file types and different protocols and different ways to implement augmented reality. And so that becomes an entire new project. If Lego says, hey, you know what, we're on Apple, our stuff works on iPhone using a USDZ format or something, then you jump, and then they say, hey, you know what, we'd like to use that same asset or move that over to a Snapchat campaign and let people play with it in their space inside of Snapchat and target that audience. That's a huge project for them, right? They're going to have to figure out how to do that. They're going to have to contact Snapchat, get a campaign up and running, and build a new a new asset inside of Lens Studio, and it's a complicated process, right? And so we say, look, let's not reinvent the wheel every time we're trying to do something. And so what we do is we host all 3D content, and then we enable it to work anywhere, right? With just a push of a button. And I'll even probably go inside our platform later and show you guys around so you can see what we do a little bit. But these brands can bring everything to us, and we take care of everything. And so we solve a big pain point for these brands trying to deal with 3D and be able to deploy it across a kind of fractured and not really uniform system out there, AR environment. So, and there's other platforms, like I mentioned, this isn't all inclusive. There's new ones that we're working on that are coming down the line. Here are a few brands that we work with around the world. This is just a small list, and it's growing every single day. We've got a great team here at our office that works with bringing new companies in every day. But as you can see, we work with the biggest and best of the best, and we're able to deliver world-class results really across the globe. We work with companies in many, many countries, from Asia and Australia to North, South America, Europe, everywhere. We're able to service a global economy. So with that being said, I want to play a quick video that just is kind of an ad for Seek, but it's also kind of funny, and we'll just talk about it for a second, and it kind of sets the stage for what we're going to talk about.
Here we have a 1950s American shopper. The pleasure of purchasing without ever entering a store. You see, the ways in which we shop have always been evolving. Tuning in to the latest advancements in technology to bring the things that we love to buy closer and closer into our daily existence. As time marched forward and the internet brought new possibility, how we shop was poised to change at a faster pace than ever before, which it did at first, until it stopped. But now is the time for a customer experience revolution. With augmented reality, we can finally do more than just see a product. We can experience it within our own lives. What's next in online shopping is happening now.
Get there today with Seek.
So I love this video because it really shows how shopping online, e-commerce, or we'll just say shopping at home really is what I mean, has not changed a whole lot since the 1950s, where he started there. And I noticed, I've seen this ad so many times, this video so many times, I subconsciously picked up my drink right when he did, and sipped some water. But I digress. But the experience is basically the same. You've got pictures, you've got some text, you've got a price, and then you take some sort of action to place the order. It used to be that you had to pick up the phone, and now it's easier, just one tap click. And so it's gotten a little easier and a little more convenient for sure, but the process, the experience is about the same. And so COVID this year has caused some changes, right? And there've been a lot of, in fact, I've got a slide on this right here. I'll just go to this right now. There's been a huge increase in e-commerce. I saw some stats the other day that showed the e-commerce penetration fast forwarded about 10 years in the space of 6 months. From basically February to August, we jumped 10 years ahead in our e-commerce kind of journey here. And that's a big deal, right? Being able to handle that and deal with that is a huge deal. And so e-commerce companies and retail companies, for that matter, have to figure out how to deal with this cataclysmic change and how we can bring the in-store experience to a website. And that's really important, right? Like one of the examples here, IKEA. I hope most of you have walked through an IKEA before, but if you haven't, you go in and you go up an escalator and boom, you're into this experience, and you walk through the entire store. They have this maze set up and you have to walk through the whole thing, but it's an experience. They take you through room by room and show you all the possibilities that they have and how you can make your house or your office or whatever place in the store you're in look better, right? How can you use their products to make that look better? And so the online experience needs to become that. How many of you have gone to a website before and said, you go through it, you buy something, you just say, wow, I can't wait to go back to that website, right? That's kind of a weird feeling, a weird thing to say or even think, right? I've definitely had good experiences on websites before, but it's not very often that I come out and I'm like, man, I can't wait to go back to that website. Now, I could maybe argue that Facebook and some companies of social networks and things have figured out how to bring you back over and over and over and over again. But I don't feel like Shopping has really done that. I don't feel like retailers have figured that out. I don't land on IKEA's website today and say, wow, this is just so awesome. I can't wait to go back. But if you walk into a Cabela's or into like an IKEA or even a Best Buy, or there's some stores where you walk in, you're just like, man, I feel good here. I can't wait to go back and go shopping again. And so we have to figure out how we can change. So to come back to this slide here, this is a crazy stat in my mind, but since 2000, 52% of the companies on the Fortune 500 no longer exist. Right? That's crazy. Over half of the companies 20 years ago are gone. It's not that they're just not on the Fortune 500 list anymore. They're gone, right? And so you have to innovate, you have to move, you have to adjust to this time. And so e-commerce is more important than ever before. And augmented reality and 3D are becoming an increasingly important part. So let's dive into that piece now. So the evolution of the customer experience has been driven by a lot by internet speeds, actually. And we kind of talked about that in the video there, where, as things got better, there were pictures and there were video, and now all of a sudden we have 3D and AR. But when pictures came around in the, late 90s, early 2000s, that was awesome. That was a big, jump ahead. And even though the pictures were poorly formatted and small and they weren't always in the right place, they did the job. They helped bring that home catalog experience to the internet, because internet speeds could handle a photo now instead of just text. Then we moved to videos and YouTube and Vimeo and all these great services that just dominate our lives today. But even though videos came out 15 years ago on the internet, or maybe a little more than that, but really exploded 15 years ago, they're still growing at an insane rate. So we're still in this adoption phase of video and going, but everybody expects it now. Augmented reality, 3D, immersive, we are at the very beginning, right? Internet speeds have just gotten to the point where this is possible. Phones have just gotten to the point where they can handle these things without having to download apps and complicated things like that. And the advent of 5G is propelling that forward even faster, right? And as 5G becomes more widespread, more ubiquitous, then that will allow even greater immersive experiences and even higher fidelity. And then 6G and 7G and whatever the next one is going to make that even better and better and better, until we're inside of Star Trek with holograms and wearing glasses that allow us to see those types of things and experience all of that wherever we are. So there's this incredible pathway we're on, and right now we've just gotten to the point where augmented reality works well enough that it's a viable solution to be on any website today. Anybody that sells a physical product today should be using augmented reality. Even though they should be, they're not, right? 1% of retailers say that they are currently using AR, right? But there's over 1 billion people out there using augmented reality. Snapchat alone, I think, has 250 million. Yeah, I have this stat right here. I was just kind of pulling on my head. 250 million minutes per day spent engaging with AR lenses in Snapchat. That's a lot of engagement. The upcoming generation knows how to use it, and they expect it, right? For them to place a lamp like this in their, on their table, this lamp right here is fake. It's an augmented reality one, but for a Snapchat user to do that, that's no different than turning on their phone or brushing their teeth in the morning. It's natural to them. It's there, right? And so consumers are starting to say, look, we'll even pay more if you make AR available. If you make this experience better, we'll come back to your store. We'll come back to your website, because we expect and want this bigger experience. So some of these stats are from House right here. So House users are 11 times more likely to buy when shopping with AR. That's crazy. That's the biggest stat I've ever personally seen. House reported it, so we'll trust them, I guess. We typically measure anywhere from 100% to 250% increase in sales conversion with furniture. Right, furniture stores specifically, we found the best. We work with shoe companies and jewelry companies and kayak companies and outdoor companies. We work with kind of everything that you can imagine, but furniture is absolutely the best category right now for augmented reality. And I think that's partly because the consumer just gets it, right? There's another reason, I think, for example, why is jewelry not bigger in AR? It's because technology isn't quite there to produce a really nice experience for like a ring try on, right? You can see the ring in front of you or in 3D and spin it around, but what you really want is you want to be able to hold your phone like this and say, hey, I look good, right? Or I like that diamond, that's nice. I don't wear diamonds very often, but for somebody wanting to try on a wedding ring without having to go into the store, and maybe they can't because COVID doesn't allow them, they want to try on a ring. And to be able to do that will be nice when that technology becomes better, when hand tracking and foot tracking and body tracking, there's going to be so many other things that open up. But right now, again, furniture, right? 60% of consumers want this for furniture shopping, right? And when they do use AR, 72% buy more than they planned. That's cool, right? They get into this game. It's fun. They get into the experience, right? That's why I always come back to saying, look, I know we do 3D and augmented reality, but that's the bulk of what Seek does. But I really view our company as a customer experience company, because we're bringing an experience to the website, to the customer, that drives them to make better decisions. So what impact does augmented reality have on the customer, on the purchase, on this e-commerce journey here? I think there's 4 kind of spots that all kind of are intertwined, and they all kind of, intermix with each other a little bit, but they're all important, right? We've talked about experience a little bit. We'll dive in a little more. Visualization seems obvious, but it's important. Personalization is a huge mega trend that augmented reality can help. And ultimately, all of these drive towards the bottom right here, which is trust, right? Customers like doing business with companies they trust, and augmented reality can help that happen. So before we move any further, let's try it out. Let's try some augmented reality out. For those of you that are on the call, you probably have tried it before, but there's a QR code right here. And if you just open up your camera, if you're on an iPhone, just open up your camera. If you're on an Android, open up QR code scanner. Most people know how to scan a QR code these days. Tap the link that comes up, and hopefully we can show this. I think this is a surfboard or something that comes up. Let's see here. There's a surfboard right there. All right. I don't know if I can show this terribly well on camera, but there's a surfboard right here. Let's see if I can get this to actually show. It's hard to like get the right angle here. But for those of you on the phone, or sorry, on the Zoom here, I'll show at least the 3D version. That's easy to show right here. Easier to show, right? But that's the 3D version, and then AR, you can go back and forth. So this is not a viewer that Seek created. This is actually one that Apple created. It's called AR Quick Look, and it's an integrated system that allows you to do augmented reality directly from the web on an iOS device, right? And so it doesn't require an app. You saw that you just scanned it, boom, and it works, right? And that process has to be easy, right? But it's fun, right? It's really nice. People, when they get into that experience, they want to do more. They say, oh, that's really cool. I want to try another one. I want to try another one. I want to try another one. And then they start decorating their room, right? And that's amazing. That's why that's why people buy more. That's why they buy faster. It answers all their questions. Now, this point right here, improving customer loyalty. I know this is obvious, but we'll say it anyway. If retailer A has a better customer experience than retailer B, and they both sell the same products for the same price, which one are you going to go back to, right? And there's a lot of furniture companies that sell the same products, Overstock, Wayfair, whatever, right? They're all selling the same products, just packaged differently, and that's fine. But if one has augmented reality and one doesn't, then they might choose the one that has augmented reality, because they're going to get their questions answered, and they're going to say, hey, this retailer, this brand cared that I knew what I was buying. And augmented reality can really help them with that. So the experience is really nice and easy there. So visualization, this is important, right? Being able to actually see. People are bad at visualizing things in their head, or at least I am, right? When I go shopping with my wife, and she shows me something on the rack and says, hey, do you think I look good in that? I'm like, I don't know, put it on and I'll tell you if you look good. Right? So she goes into the fitting room and puts it on. And then, for me, I'm very visual. I need to see something. And if she puts on the dress and it looks nice, then I'll say, hey, it looks great. Or nope, try something else, right? And you can do that with augmented reality from the comfort and safety of your own home, right? In the future, again, you'll be able to stand in front of a mirror and try on clothes, and that's great. Here you can try out, you're trying this couch in front of a fireplace, and you can say, hey, what would that look like? Hey, it looks pretty good, but it might be a little crowded here, right? Kind of block this toy box maybe, and maybe there's some problems that it would create. But the point is, this question is answered. There's no more doubt in this person's mind that's shopping for this. What is this going to look like? And so that's going to lead to, obviously answered questions, but then it's going to reduce returns. So that's why it increases sales conversion. The confidence, they get to the yes faster. And then there's no surprises on the back end. When the product shows up, they already know that this product is going to fit. And that's exciting for them. So retailers are struggling big time with returns. And I think I've got a slide somewhere on here. If I don't, I'm going to talk about it right now. There's going to be about $1 trillion returned this year in 2020 from online shopping. $1 trillion is a big number. That's a lot of product. That's a lot of landfill. That's a lot of wasted time, energy, space, money. And that's affecting not only the retailer and the brand that is selling through that retailer, it's also affecting the end consumer. And all of those things are bad, right? None of those things are good. It takes, especially with a big product like a table or something, right? It's heavy and expensive and hard to deliver. And then you set it up and you say, oh, I just don't like it. I wish, now I want to return it. Now you have to take it apart and figure out how to ship it back via UPS. It's a 200-pound item. That's not cool, right? So for furniture, returns are bad, and you really want to make sure that you make the right decision before you do it. And so this can really help. So personalization is awesome. There's a cologne. I had an experience recently where I bought a new cologne. I saw some ad on Instagram or something. I was scrolling through and found it, tapped on it. I said, hey, I need a new cologne. I haven't bought one for a while. And instead of just taking me to a product page and, letting me scroll through, it started asking me questions. I said, how old are you? What do you like to do? What kind of sports? Do you sweat a lot? What do you like to drink? Do you drink alcohol? Do you smoke? Do you eat meat? Do you like spicy food? And it started just asking me all these questions, right? And then at the end it said, hey, based on this, we think we can make a cologne for you that's going to just be perfect for you, right? And they personalized a cologne based on all these questions that I asked. And they said, here's one for play, and here's a little bit different one that's a little more serious for work. And so you can buy both of these. And I was just like, perfect, let's buy those. And they showed up, and I get compliments on these things all the time, right? And I love it. But what I loved about it was that personalization, right? Maybe they only sell 8 different colognes, but to me, it felt like they made it personally for me. Like, I don't know if they went in and, concocted some nice little cologne and made that happen, but it felt really, really nice. And so with augmented reality, personalization was, is everything, right? I can see what that table looks like in my kitchen, in my office. I can see what that couch looks like in my living room. I can see what that shirt looks like on my body. I can see what that ring looks like on my finger. That's as personalized as it gets, right? And so when people start to see these things in their home or on themselves, and whenever they start to feel a sense of ownership too, right? They say, oh, hey, I really love the way that chair looked next to that fire. And then when you turn it off, you're like, oh man, it's gone. I want to get that. Let's buy that right now, right? So you kind of, when you close the experience, you're kind of taking it away from them a little bit, right? And again, I think just as important as helping somebody make the right decision is stopping someone from making the wrong decision, preventing a bad experience. By the way, Johnny and Justin, I see your comments and questions. I'll get to them. So preventing a bad experience is just as important. You want someone to look at the table in their kitchen and say, that's the wrong one, and close out and go find another one, because that prevents the return. It prevents the loss of inventory or the returned inventory, and the loss of the payments that you have to make to all the shippers and everybody that's getting involved with this, potentially damaging the product, sending it back, and making it useless. There's a lot that can go wrong. And so preventing that experience is just as that bad experience is just as important as giving them a good one. We'll pause for a second and look at these comments. Justin, the mustache transformation is amazing. If you look up the evolution of shopping, you'll find that video. It's on YouTube. And there's a lot of really funny little things in that video that I enjoy. The mustache changes, and you'll notice in all of the ads, where the guy's jumping on the TV with the golf and he's looking at a magazine, it's somebody wearing a sweater. It's all the same actor. He's looking at himself all the time in all these different ways. It was a really fun commercial to make. So good stuff. Johnny, I've felt often the image in the AR/VR is of low quality or cartoonish for me to lead to sales conversion. Do you think there are advancement in the future, or what determines the quality of that image? Yeah, this is a huge point, Johnny. Thank you for asking it. There is good AR and there's bad AR, no question. And it all comes down to, well, there's 2 things that it comes down to. One is you got to have it made by someone that knows what they're doing, right? And we have Seek doesn't actually create 3D models. We manage the 3D model creation process, and then we have thousands of 3D models all over the world. And so we vet companies, and we only work with the ones that make it actually look really, really nice. We've had to fire a lot of 3D modeling companies because they send us bad quality. But let's say we get good quality. Sometimes you can get good quality, but then the file is huge, right? There are, so that the second piece of this is how do you compress that file to get down to a size where it's usable in an AR or VR setting, down to the single digit megabytes instead of 100 megabytes or 50 megabytes. Can you decimate it? Can you get it down, but keep the textures high and use different compression techniques to make it look good? And so we do that better than anybody out there. I mean, if you go, Johnny, you can definitely try this, and anybody can try this. Go to seekxr.com, SEEKXR.com, and you can do that now while we're on the call or later, and then just go to there's a demo or try it now or something like that. And there's a bunch of different models, and you'll see that there's some very, very high quality things that load very quick. They've been optimized through our systems and enabled for web AR. So try that out. But there's no question you can get really bad stuff if you go to the wrong place. Right. And then Leonard said, Johnny, there are standardization efforts working in that area. Some are real standards, some are guidelines. Yeah, definitely. So this is a process that is continuing to get better. One thing that will come in the near future is your phone will be able to scan, right? And hopefully that gets, easier and easier, right? But if I want to scan this box of AirPods right here, right? I would just, go like this, take all pictures, and the phone will be able to create a nice 3D model for me. I think we're years away from getting really good content from that, but in the future, we hope that 3D model creation is really, really easy. We want to get out of it, right? We don't want to ever have to deal with that. We want companies to be able to create their own 3D models in whatever way they want. And then what we do is optimize and make sure that it can just be distributed everywhere. So, anyway, 3D model creation is definitely a hurdle that we need to overcome for sure. And then just another question here: do you find certain game engines provide more realistic AR experiences? We've used Unity. We like Unity the best. I think that Unreal Engine and others that are out there do just fine. We've just happened to land on Unity. I don't know if I would say Unity versus Unreal in terms of the quality of the AR renderings are different. But I'm just trying to think back to different experiences we've made. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you're working with one of the best, they're going to be pretty similar. There's definitely, I mean, some of you might be familiar with the concept of ray tracing, and ray tracing is a 3D technology that allows the video card or the computer to render light in a very realistic way, right? But until just a couple of years ago, ray tracing was very, very rarely seen and couldn't really be used live in a game. And then GTX or GeForce, when people came out with the 2080 series that includes the RTX series that include ray tracing, and so that took the level of realism up just one whole factor probably, and that's just going to get better and better and better and better, right? If we wait 3 or 4 more generations, these things are going to look so real that parents are going to wonder whether or not they should let their kids play video games and kill people that look very, very real. So anyway, technology is getting better, and all of these things will improve over time. But today, absolutely, go to our website and try it. You'll see that there's some incredible models there that look very, very real and very nice. So anyway, all of this comes back to trust. Thank you for the questions, by the way. We'll address more later and maybe open it up for a discussion as we go on. But trust is where all of this goes to, right? The consumer today doesn't like to be fooled, right? And they come from a position of mistrust, right? They're not going to trust you until they trust you, right? And so you have to, as an e-commerce, as a retailer, as a brand, you have to do everything you can to give them that trust. And so you have policies like free returns, right? Or 30-day returns and 2-day shipping, and someone you can call and talk to, and little chat people that you can talk to. And so you're trying to find ways to get them to trust you and talk to you and say, look, even if you make the decision and for whatever reason you don't like it, trust us. We'll stand by our product, and you can ship it back to us, and we'll give you your money back. But nobody really wants to do that, right? What we need to do is we need to help people get better at making the process, the purchase right the first time, right? So faster decision making when you can see, hey, I like the way that looks next to my Sequoia. That Audi actually looks pretty dang nice. And, you know, if we were doing this live, you'd be able to see me walk around and get inside the car and all of that, right? You wouldn't be able to actually drive it. That would be cool, but we're not there yet. But it reduces decision-making time. It increases loyalty, right? When they want to keep coming back again and they want to share this, right? But when you provide all of this information to them and saying, look, we believe in our product, so here it is. Put it in your life. See how you, don't trust our staged, nice, perfect photos that we've put together, but see what it looks like in your home. And that will, you know, engender that trust. So let's go to the next one here. We'll get back to some more questions in a minute. This also leads to happier customers, right? Fewer returns. Here the stats was talking about $1 trillion in annual e-commerce returns in 2020 is projected. That is scary. And this projection was made last year. That's before we did a 10-year leap ahead in e-commerce, right? That's pretty crazy. So we might hit 1.5 trillion given the types of increases that we've done, but it's going to top $1 trillion. And that's a big deal. And 25% of these, or $250 billion worth, according to this projection, are because the product received looked different, right? Something that AR could have saved. So if we could just push a magic button and AR is now on every e-commerce website out there, we're going to save the economy $250 billion of bad transactions. That's a big deal. And that's definitely something that we're working towards here at Seek. Only 9% of brick and mortar sales returned because people can be there and see it. They have a lot more questions answered, right? And so can we bring that type of stat to the industry? And then again, 86% of people are willing to pay more for a better experience. So even if you have to charge a tiny bit more, even if you have to take up your price, increase your prices by 1%, right? First of all, you're going to increase your sales conversion and reduce your returns. You're already going to be saving money by using augmented reality. But even if you said, you know what, we're going to pay for it, we're going to pay for someone to help us do this, and we're going to put it on our website, and we're going to pass the cost on to the customer, they're willing to pay it. They're willing to pay it because they want that better experience. They don't want to deal with the return. They want to make sure that they buy the right thing the first time. So here's a case study. This is a furniture company. It's an anonymous one, so I can't share the name of it, but it's real numbers. This is a furniture company. We did a case there, just a A/B test, basically, tied into Google Analytics over 6 weeks, and we were able to see, hey, if they used AR, what happened? If they didn't, what happened? And when they did use AR, we got a 50% increase in cart size. We brought them $300,000 in incremental revenue as a result of this, 150% increase in time on site, and 169% improved conversions. So now that's expanding to thousands of products, right? But goodness gracious, that's a huge win right there to be able to have this kind of a result, and let augmented reality kind of work its magic. Overstock is one of our bigger customers that people know. It's very similar results, actually. 150% improved conversions. We did this over 2 months, and it was with millions of dollars. So it's very statistically significant. It makes a difference. We have no problem. We will guarantee that if you are a furniture company, we will guarantee a certain percentage increase conversion, or you will get your money back from us. It just works. We know it does. And so that's really exciting. So again, this is kind of the end of my plan stuff here. Augmented reality helps improve your relationship, helps e-commerce companies improve relationships with their customers. And they do it through making an amazing experience, helping the customers visualize, allowing them to have a personalized experience, and in the end, bringing happier customers that trust them better, right? So that's all. This is some of my information here. You can email me directly. You can add me on LinkedIn. And again, I'm here in Lehigh, Utah. And so now we'll jump into some questions. And Dominic, I'll let you, if we want to let people speak up, they're welcome to do that. I'll answer this first one right here from, I can't say that name, Mahmoud Zafar Walakan. That was my best go at it. But it says, does VR play any part in the shopping that seems more immersive? Absolutely it does. I'm going to call you Mahmoud. I don't know if that's your name, but we're going to go with that. But it does, Mahmoud. The VR experience is most certainly more immersive. The only problem with it currently is it's not very accessible, right? VR requires you to go out and buy a headset, and that's expensive. So it's another device that somebody needs in their home, and then they have to use it, right? So I bought an Oculus Rift, I don't know, 3 years ago maybe, and I have put it on. I am in the AR industry. I'm very interested in it. I try to keep up with the latest and greatest, and that's part of why I bought it. But I've used it 20 times in 3 years. Just, I never use it. I use my phone more than 20 times a day, right? And so that's where our company decided, and it doesn't mean that VR is bad. VR has so many good applications from medical and training and PTSD treatment and medical treatment. There's so many great use cases for VR, right? But for the average consumer that just wants to go shopping, it's so much easier to just swipe up and get to work, right? And being able to see it in AR right on your phone that you don't have to buy another device. It's right there. It's integrated. It works. Absolutely, it's not as immersive. So I think that VR will have a place in shopping at some point. Maybe if there's some device that everybody buys, right? If you look at a movie or a book like Ready Player One, where everyone in the world is just, they live in VR and that's just part of life and that's how it is. And, heck, who knows? Maybe COVID, thrashes the world and everyone has to stay inside forever. VR would have a bigger place in shopping because people would be looking to VR for experiences at that point. But I think what's really going to happen is the mobile devices that we have are going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. And then Apple and other brands or other big tech companies are going to come out with glasses, with AR glasses, with immersive glasses. And those are going to be things that we wear every day. And those glasses will do our navigation for us. They'll allow us to watch TV on any wall. They'll allow us to shop. They'll allow us to see holograms in front of us. They'll allow us to do so many things, and that will become part of everyday life. But AR has just such a huge advantage because it enhances or augments the real world, as opposed to taking you out of the world and putting you in this other place in a cumbersome environment that's really difficult to deal with. And so VR is good. It has its use case in the right place. When you do need to, for example, if you want to do combat training, or you're trying to get over something from a PTSD episode, right? And they need you to relive it for real, right? Or they need you to see other things. Or maybe they just need to do something to help you completely leave your environment and go somewhere else. That's where VR comes in handy. But even for combat training, if I just to argue against myself here, you put on some AR glasses, and now you can move around in the real world and have and use your real muscles and real things and move around and go through different scenarios in a whole different way. So anyway, I think that VR is good, but AR I see winning out in the long run. VR came to the market first, really, and AR is surpassing it. So yeah, any other questions here?
Hey, John, this is Justin. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this has been an awesome presentation. It's been one of the best I've had with Dominique. So thank you for that.
Yeah, of course.
I was just thinking about the Amazon marketplace.
Yeah.
What's your vision for them to enable every single one of the products listed in those scrolling pages to pop out?
It's a good question.
Do you think they're looking at that at all? They must be in some way.
They are. Yeah, they are working at it. And if you go into the Amazon app, so one of the things, and by the way, I before the end of this, I'd be happy to walk you guys through Seek Studio and our platform and show you kind of how it works a little bit. But inside of the Amazon app, right now today, there are products that have augmented reality enabled. Right? It's right inside their app, and Amazon can get away with it inside their app. Most companies, we say, hey, we don't want to, build an app because nobody's going to download it. But Amazon, over 50% of their purchases come through their app, and so they can do that, right? And that's a huge amount of volume. But yes, being able to see these products in augmented reality in your space is a big deal, and so Amazon knows that. We've spoken with Amazon many times for years. Actually, we've worked with them, and what we're working on right now is we've spoken with them and said we know that it makes a big impact. We know that it reduces returns by about 40% inside of their app, and increases sales by numbers that I can't share. But the impact is real, right? And so we're building inside of our studio the ability to directly integrate from Seek Studio into that. And yes, Dominic, thank you for sharing that. Snapchat definitely. So this is a an article from a couple years ago, from 2018. And they did help them at some point, but they've kind of separated a little bit since then, to kind of try and figure it out on their own. Amazon's taking a weird approach that I don't understand, but they are building the 3D models themselves. They'll go through and they will find products that are popular, right? They know their most popular products, and they'll hire their own 3D teams to build 3D models of those products and then put them on there without even telling the brand. We have customers that we'll go and search their product on Amazon and say, oh, hey, you have a 3D model on your Amazon product. How did you get that done, right? And they say, I didn't even know I had that, right? Amazon just did it for them, right? Which is weird to me.
That sounds like a liability right there.
Maybe, yeah, totally. If they say, well, if they get some feature wrong or something, but yeah, it's all pretty harmless stuff. It's all furniture mostly that they're focusing on, toys, little things and TVs maybe. But you're right, totally. I mean, when they literally didn't even talk to the brand and they just went and did it. So that's interesting. Again, we need to figure out. I don't believe Amazon should be doing that, right? I don't think any of these platforms should be doing that. I think that you should leave it to a company like Seek to say, look, we're just going to be the experts at making sure these 3D assets are in the best shape for everybody. And you just push buttons and they go to the right place. And that will make we would increase the speed of everything that Amazon does by 100x if they did it through us. We actually just formed a big partnership with Snapchat to do the exact thing for them. So we can now directly integrate with Snapchat through Seek. And so that's just a one-click button, you make it happen. So good stuff there. Marco's got a question here, it looks like. I'm sorry, and anything else on that, Justin? Or was that it on your question?
That's great. Just gauging what the status of the marketplace is going towards with big players like
Amazon. All going that direction. They're all doing it, but the problem is everyone's trying to do it on their own. That's the problem. Right. So, okay, Marco might be talking about this exact thing. So do you see the walled gardens that device and SDK providers create, like Apple, Google, Facebook, 60.ai, 8th Wall, PTC, to control their ecosystems as a major stumbling block for AR adoption as opposed to implementing open standards, for example, WebXR? Excellent question and clear understanding of the industry, Marco. Love the question. And it probably goes right to the core of what Seek does, right? We'll take a quick break from here, and let's see if I can share my screen. We're gonna go Google Chrome. I think this should share. I have the Nestle Mexico site up right here because there's our technology right there, right on their homepage. So that's fun. But I'm gonna go in right now to Seek Studio, and we're gonna walk around here for a second and look at this. So here we're in a Nestle account. There's nothing really proprietary here that you're looking at. They have a 3D model that we're hosting, but then they can come over here to our integrations page, and they can just say, hey, how do I want to use this, right? And they can say, hey, you know what, I need to use it in Snapchat, or hey, you know what, I need to grab a QR code for this, or maybe I need to grab, I need to host this on my website, right? And so all of this information comes up, and it takes them directly to it. It gives them the code they need. It shows an example of it, whatever is needed, right? There's the little button. It's ready to go. Here's how you do it. Here's the code that you need to put on, and it's all just ready to go. And so again, Marco, I don't know if you were here at the beginning, but to just go back to one slide that explains this, everyone has their walled garden, right? They all have this. And so Seek sits in the middle of this so that brands can just say, hey, here's all the 3D models, and then we worry about all these integrations. We've solved the problem. It's done. So Lego doesn't have to go solve it every single time they want to go into a new platform. Vans doesn't need to go out and solve it again, right? They're all solving the same problem over again. We've done it. So we're able to sit there right in the middle and make that happen. And so we're all about open standards like WebXR. We want it to be easier to just do all kinds of things. And we support WebXR, and we're actually launching some new features with WebXR in the next few weeks. But at the end, these brands can't stay on top of the myriad of formats and protocols and walled gardens that they have to deal with to make this happen. We solve that, but we're kind of one way that we've described it is we're kind of like FedEx, right? We're the last mile. We're the last mile delivery. You've got all these amazing platforms and places where you can use AR, and you've got all these 3D models out there in the world, and they're not getting there, right? Because there's this complex barrier in between. You put Seek in the middle, and it opens everything up, and everything can kind of be pushed out to wherever you want to go. So good question. All right, back to the chat here. Mahmood, you say when you say Seek publishes to Snap, it still has to be done through Lens Studio, I assume. Ultimately, it is kind of Mahmood, but it's not really actually. We have a direct integration, a feed into Snap that allows people to upload something into Seek Studio. We push a button here, and it's over there in the system, and then it kicks back a link that they still have to go in to if they want to promote it and add targeting and things like that for their ad, but we have a direct integration, direct connection into Snap, right? And then Justin, Marco, what is walled studio versus open standards mean? Good question. I mean, really what he means here is Apple has, let's use Apple as an example. They're the perfect example. Apple got into the AR game, into the web AR game and all this with a new file format called a USDZ. And they are the only people in the world that use the USDZ file format. Nobody else does. Everybody else uses GLBs and FBXs and DAEs and Collada files and all these different things. And we don't need to go into those different things. But Apple said, hey, we're going to do our own file. So if you want augmented reality to work on an iPhone, you've got to figure out how to get your 3D models into our format, right? And so it's a walled garden, right? It's something that you have to do it their way or it's not going to work. WebXR is totally different, where it's an open standard. It's created by the same people that create WebGL and other standards that are out there, GLTF, that are universally compatible. They say, hey, here's all the code. Everybody should just work to this standard, and then we don't have this problem, right? But in reality, that problem's always going to be there, right? I mean, even if you look at something like Photoshop, why does Photoshop exist? I know it exists partly to create, and that's great, but it also supports 25, 30 different formats of photos, because everybody has created different types of photo files that do different things and have different abilities and capabilities. And the same thing is true of video. And you look in Premiere, how many different ways can you output in Premiere? And so to some extent, yes, it's great to have kind of an open file format that everybody uses. With pictures, that would be a JPEG maybe, right? Or a PNG. Those are things that are very well accepted and work pretty much everywhere. But then there's a lot of specialized ones that need to be out there for different platforms. And so there's always going to be some sort of a need for it. So you can call Seek the Photoshop or the Premiere essentially of the 3D world there. So that's what we're talking about versus a very specific type of file that only works in one place, or an open standard that can potentially work everywhere. You're right, Marco. Pixar worked with Apple to create that file format. You're exactly right. Okay, so yeah, you are right, Marco. And I mean, that's the problem with innovation, or maybe the good thing about innovation, right? Everyone starts out, USDZ was supposed to become what GLTF already offers today, no question. But then someone else is working on that solution at the same time, and this person is, and now all of a sudden 10 formats come to the market right now. And right now there are so many, there's probably 100 different 3D file formats. We haven't even started talking about CAD files and how many different versions of CAD files are that are also a 3D file format that are used for products. And then they can be exported into a few dozen different types of files that may or may not be compatible with the device that you need to make it work, right? So, and Leonard, yeah, you're saying USDZ and GLTF both have, they're both really powerful formats. And again, they're just not compatible with each other right now in terms of the different platforms that go on. But that's where Seek is able to do amazing things. We can take any GLTF and convert it into a USDZ and vice versa, right? With our 3D pipeline, right? So Apple is very hard to talk to. We know that. We used to do, when we started the company, we were dealing with apps. We were dealing with Apple a lot in their app store, and we are very happy that we don't do that anymore. Everything we do is outside of an app. Although we can integrate into an app, right? We certainly can do an iOS app or an Android app or whatever, that's fine. So good stuff, good questions. What else?
Yeah, any questions? Actually, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, if you want to talk, make this a conversation. Bring it in.
John, I'm really interested in seeing how this flows down into your household, your kids. Just like getting a viewpoint from the younger generation. It's kind of like a market survey in a moment. It's like how the next generation is going to approach this technology. How has that affected your company's direction?
It's a good question, and I'll share something new that we just came out with. It's called Seek Education, and literally just last week. So Seek Education is a brand new product for us. It's awesome. You can all jump on and get a free trial. I think there's a 14-day free trial right now. But basically, it's kind of like Netflix with augmented reality as the content, right? And it's all education focused, right? So you can go in and you can find science models and space models and anatomy models and all kinds of great things. And education, especially in this time of COVID, when everyone's doing distance learning and working from home and figuring out how to do that, we have this incredible new product, and we charge nothing for it, right? I mean, for a parent, or a family that wants to have this, it's $4 a month. It's $3.99. It's awesome. Wow. So I logged into my account the other day and just handed my kid, my 7-year-old, the phone. And I can't tell you how many demos I've done with augmented reality over the last 4 or 5 years, and given it to really smart people, and they just struggle with it. And my 7-year-old and 5-year-old just went to town with it. They didn't even, it's just like, click, boom, there it is. Oh, look at this. Oh, there's a dinosaur right here. And oh, look, I've got the solar system, and oh, the sun is right here. It's going around me. And they were just playing with it like it was a toy, like it was a ball or something. It was that easy to them. It was that simple. And so, again, I think that even a little, the generation above my kids that are, 18, 19, 15, 20, they've grown up on Snapchat, and I think they use augmented reality just about as well, if not just as well. But my kids, that's their life, right? Everything's going to be immersive for them as they grow up. This is how this little video that's playing in the background here is how they're going to learn. And so that's exciting. It's exciting that it comes so naturally to them. When I was, I'm 34, and when I was a kid, I was, walking around my mom and dad on the computer. That I could do anything that they wanted or needed. And anytime the computer was broken, I'm 11 years old and I'm using their computer. And so I think that's just how the generations go. The next generation's always just a little bit smarter, and they're definitely better with technology than us. So I definitely am excited for the upcoming generation to continue to push the limits, right? They're going to do things that we haven't even thought of yet. So that's fun.
This approach really reminds me of the metaverse presentation we had about a month ago with Dominique's invitation. Remember that, Dominique?
Oh, I think it's Julie Smithen and Alan Smithen.
I know Alan really well. Alan's awesome.
He's also going really hard with education with metaverse, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys working together at all?
No, we're not. We do things a little bit differently. We have kind of a fully baked platform that, again, operates more like Netflix, and I think his is just a little bit more custom.
Yeah.
For maybe larger scale things. So maybe we're going after different market. We're in the same education space, but education is obviously very broad. But no, I don't think we go really head to head. And Alan just actually sat in on he was a guest on our podcast just this week, and I was on his podcast 6 months ago, and we've traveled through the world together. He and I are at all the same events, and so we're both some of those pioneers in the AR space.
Well, you both definitely have the same energy.
That's good.
Positive energy.
I'm sure we do. We get along really well.
That's cool.
Yeah. Any questions? Yeah. Feel free to ask. Yeah.
And if there aren't more, feel free to email me, add me on LinkedIn, ask me whatever, and happy to continue conversations elsewhere if you don't have them today.
I have an official question. Are you growing your team at all?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What do you need to your team right now?
We're primarily growing in sales and marketing. Well, actually, we're growing in all places. Sales and marketing and development, right? We're hiring about 4 or 5 developers right now. Building
developers.
Cool new stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Mostly sales and marketing is where that's my focus. My CTO is also, we're building some new products, and we just want to speed up development, right? We want to add more and more integrations and just make things smoother. And we have this big wish list of features that our customers are asking for that we want to give to them as soon as possible.
All right. Yeah. I'll connect with you on LinkedIn. I'm really excited to hear more.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
Jon, I'd like to talk to you later on about some standards organizations and perhaps ways to improve that. Is that okay?
Please do. Yeah, that'd be great, Leonard. Please reach out.
Okay. The group is Kronos.
Absolutely. I'm very familiar with Kronos, and we'd love to be more involved. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Any more questions? Yeah. Okay. So if you want to connect with Jon, I've already posted all the social media that you can connect with Jon. And thank you, Jon, for being our speaker today. And yeah, and we all love your energy and wish your company can kind of like go rock. And the new feature like education in XR, I think it's a really good feature, especially every kids nowadays staying at home, and a lot of parents, they want to kind of like keep the kids busy. So I think this is kind of a really good solutions. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. Thanks, everybody. Look
Yeah.
forward
Thank
to
you,
seeing you
Dominic.
again later.
Thank you, Jon.
yeah, thank you. Okay,
Okay.
so have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Cheers, bye.